Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome again to the Passfolio YouTube channel. My name is Oshin from Passfolio, and today we have a very interesting guest with us. We have the person of Benga Onifade from Wealth Hackers. Hello, Benga.
Hey, Mr. Oshin. Hi, how are you?
Very well, thank you. It's good to have you on today's show, and we know it's going to be quite exciting for everyone watching. Could you
Absolutely.
give us could you give us a brief introduction about yourself, and let's get to meet you. Who is Benga Onifade?
Right, so here is the elevator speech. My name is Benga Onifade, and I found the Wealth Hackers. Okay, the Wealth Hackers actually it's a group of which is focused on Nigerian investors mostly. Even though when I say Nigerian investors, it could be investors all around the world, But the core message is to elevate Nigerians across, around the world and get them into investing on the stock market. How did I get into this? I mean, I did 4 university degrees. I had an engineering background, from a mathematical degree and a very analytical mind. And at some point, I realized there's got to be a better way to make a living for myself. And I realized the three things we don't talk about very much in Nigeria. Number one is death. Number two is mental health. And number three is finance. And I didn't think the mental health is for me. And death, I mean, who really wants to pick death? So I thought I'll go for the personal finance and investing. So here I am, 8 months later.
Okay, excellent. And how long have you been investing for, basically?
I have been investing circa 2005 now. So yeah, I've been in the game since 2005, and yeah. So obviously I started off with the odd, savings, save it until you make it, if you can say that. But eventually I realized you cannot save your way to out of being broke, if you can say. So I decided I was gonna go for the stock market, which is very important for me. And that's actually been a saving grace, if you can say that, for me. And like I said again, I have been doing that since 2005. So yes, and it's been a wonderful journey, actually.
Awesome. All right, so I'm sure that people want to know more about investing. We know what happened in last year as a result of the pandemic. Quite a number of Nigerians seem to have gotten involved because obviously inclusion into the US stock market became easier with a lot of online brokerages coming up in Nigeria. Now, what's your opinion generally about investing in stocks, and what are some of your investment strategies?
Well, that's quite interesting. I've actually been on different platforms when it comes to investing chats, really. And one of the things was, I realized most people, they tend to, Warren Buffett's style, nothing wrong with it at all. Leave the money there, let it grow, which is absolutely wonderful because your wealth is built over a long time. However, I am, I'm a very, astute DIY investor, if you can call it that. And also, I believe in, what do you call it? I'm very, very different, and I tend not to follow the norm, deviate from the norm. So I tend to call myself a techno fundamentalist, really. So yes, when I have to follow the fundamentals, I do follow the fundamentals. However, when I have to change the game and switch it up for myself, and there are times where you have to just tear the rule book and just do what you think works the most. And that's what I do. So I tend not to put myself in a box, really. It's quite funny when when we're going to share this meeting, this conversation, I thought, what am I going to talk about? I told my daughter, I said, I haven't actually prepared. And she said, well, maybe you just respect yourself and, and pick a book. I said, what book am I going to pick from about 400 books I've got in this shelf? But, so yeah, I'm very, very different with my style. And so, like I said, I don't fit myself in a box. So sometimes I have to be technical. technical, and when I have to be fundamentalist, I have to be fundamentalist. So, which is why I said I'm a techno fundamentalist when it comes to my style. There are times whereby people say, the mantra, which is buy the dip. I just have to go with buying the dip. And there are times whereby I laugh at people like, you know what? I just follow my gut instincts and leave it there. Don't touch it for years. And there are times whereby, do you know what? I just want to day trade. I want to look at the charts. And this is what the chart is telling me, looking like a kid's crayon on the board. And I just do that. So, yeah, I tend not to fit in one box because I realize as you grow older into this thing, you keep learning and you have to keep evolving your style.
Okay. Awesome. So I just want to put a disclaimer out there. This is not financial advice in any way. We're just having a chit chat here, educational content. At Passfolio, we don't recommend stocks and all of that. So please, you still need to do your own findings about all of these things, right? Okay, so
perform your due diligence. Rule number one.
Rule number one, man. Like we need to get that straight here. So going deeper, we know what happened last year. The pandemic actually hit badly most around the world, most countries around the world. Now we see what America did, for example, what the US did. They went about giving a huge stimulus package, and we saw the reaction in the market. It was quite clear. It was an interesting year, and Biden has also passed another stimulus package. I think supposed to sign that today. So, what do you think the market is going to? How do you think the market is going to react to this?
It's quite funny because we've had the last 100 years we've had about 15 market crashes, and there's this old mantra people going about, yay, markets will always bounce back. Okay, yes, we know it always bounces back. That's a bit boring. However, if you're thinking about the way it looks like, 2020, I think it happened on the 20th of February actually, and the market bounced back on the 7th of April. So it's quite funny that it's about a year ago now, and then what happened? The market quickly, I tend to call it a flash crash because I was expecting worse. But one thing people do not realize is that, people think that we're going to have another crash suddenly. I think the market has seen that shock. So the market reacted straight away. And now, we have record deaths due to COVID-19 cases. I don't think that will shock the market anymore. So you don't expect the market suddenly crash. We will feel the aftermath effect. However, if you think about a baby holding a giant elephant, lifting a giant elephant up, and that's what's going on right now. So we are literally printing out money out of thin air. I mean, they call it quantitative easing, right? Isn't that what they call it? So we basically print rewards, and is this the second or the third time now America's they're getting paid? In within a year, really. I've never come across that in history of mankind. Yes, I understand the economy being rescued. But normally, one thing we have to understand is, yes, economy and the stock market do correlate, but at the same time, the markets, yes, they do not correlate, which means the market's not the economy. But we expect to feel this at some point, and I think the past 2-3 weeks, it was about happening. We all felt the correction, leaning. And I kept telling people, after the third day, I told people the market is still high. And they say, what do you mean the market is still high? When is it going to go down? My portfolio is red. And I kept telling people the market is still high. So what would happen? The markets will feel the impact of the money. So it's going to prop up the economy ultimately, because mostly what's going to happen, people are going to pump out the money into the market. But as things get better, we're going to feel the aftermath effect. And there's been so much warnings out there. But I mean, if I'm a politician, I've got a name to save. I've got my party's reputation, and I want the economy to keep going stronger, right? So I think it's normal human nature to just say, okay, let's just rescue this money. We're going to print something here. However, when things get back, we're going to feel it. But this holes can be plugged. And how could it be plugged? Excess taxes, maybe. Should we say job creation? So even though it's like they say, in Nigeria, you use Abu's money to entertain Abu, right? So that's exactly what's happen. So it's you. So the guy's gonna feel the impact because I mean, people getting paid like what, a quarter of their salary, getting it in 1 month, just like that. But ultimately, it's gonna go back into the economy. So you're recycling the same old thing. But ultimately, what's going to eventually, you guys going to feel it in probably more taxes. And, there will be a spread in terms of, so you might just realize things have gone up a little bit because so it's going to take a long while. Because if you think about it, $1 trillion being printed or 1.9 trillion, so almost 2 trillion being printed out, that's almost close to 7% of the economy, GDP, being printed out in 1 day. So we will feel it. And the impact of the economy, I mean, if you think about America, America is what, a third of the world's, or maybe a quarter now of the world's economy is America. So ultimately, the world is going to feel it globally. It's going to affect the world, the global economy. So I think from an investor's point of view, for me, I think it's just best to hedge your wins and do not fully concentrate on America as an investment. Yes, everybody wants to bet on America. It's still the world powers, still globally dominating. But you don't want to fully concentrate on America because when impact has been felt, you will feel it heavily, regardless of where you live.
All right, then. Again, remember, this is not financial advice, you guys. So don't go looking for some.
Yeah, we having a chat.
All right. So talking about taxes, do you think Biden is actually going to go through and increase taxes, corporate taxes? Do you think he's actually going to do that? And what is likely to be the impact on the market?
I mean, he's a Democrat, isn't it? Democrats tend to favor the population, and he's always favored let's tax the rich and the wealthy. But you know what? You got to believe you've got to take everything they tell you with a pinch of salt. They tell you we're going to do this, we're going to do that. But if you believe that, then I think you're fooling yourself. So personally, I think there will be a little bit of extra being paid. But I mean, if it's okay, let's look at it this way. America is a core capitalist environment, okay? And what does that mean? Money and wealth belongs to the people. So you're not going to tax the same people that you've just given money to. They printed what, 2 trillion? Who's really going to take that 2 trillion? It's the people. Jeff Bezos doesn't need your 2 trillion. Well, he needs a 2 trillion, but he doesn't need a $1,400 check. Well, regardless of how many kids he's got. Elon Musk doesn't need your check. Bill Gates doesn't need your check. And who are these guys providing these same jobs? It's the same people. So you're not going to tax them heavily because otherwise the same China who you see as a competition, they're saying they're just there. And what you're going to do, you're shooting yourself in the foot. So you don't want to do that. In fact, they would rather give them tax breaks. But I think the burden is going to come back to the Americans, the same Americans who are screaming, give me my check, give me my check. I think majority of people do not understand how economics work. You can't just print money from thin air and expect it not to have an adverse effect. It's like scoring an own goal. That's what they say, and then celebrating.
All right. So we know what happened about 2 weeks ago. It was as though, just like you mentioned, it was as though the market wanted to correct. We saw the Nasdaq actually drop quite substantially, and we saw what happened to sit down stocks. And what's your opinion on that? What should you see?
If you look at the way the economy works, many, and which is of course my core audience, which are Nigerians, many Nigerians are quite new to investing in foreign exchange. Why is that? Because the Nigerian stock market has actually failed Nigerians, which is a shame. I'm saying this publicly, but there you go. Of course, we still have people right there who are still putting their money there. While some people say once bitten, twice shy. Apparently, before I go back to the answer to the question, Nigeria's market was the best globally last year. Well, when I say globally, I think among about 100 that were pulled in this poll. So now, what do I say? What's the question again?
Bit down with the world tech stocks, the Nasdaq, for example.
Yes. So the correction last week. Yes. So a few people they tend to get things confused, So I sent this something on Twitter. I said when the market is down from 0 to 5%, that's just a pullback. From 5 to 10%, then that is a correction. sorry, from 0 to 10%, 0 to 5% is a pullback. From 5 to about 20% is a correction. 20% to 50, there's a crash. And after 50 is just a depression, this is a recession, everything's just collapsed, more or less. So I think we had a pullback. It was tethering on correction because it was about 6%. NASDAQ just about his correction stage before it went back. Okay. And many people haven't actually faced that before. And what happened? They all just started screaming, "Oh my God, what's this?" Oh, and I have a group of mentees. We're talking about 300 people in my group who are listening to me almost every day. I'm guiding them on how to make their financial way or future, build this portfolio. We are trading on a daily basis. And guess what most of them said to me? I kept having many people send me the DMs, direct messages. What's going on? My portfolio is red. Oh no, I had 500% before and it's gone down to zero. I had to tell people two things. Number one, this is a common thing. It's not. I didn't make it up. Stocks goes up in staircases and they come down in an elevator. That's just very simple. You need to know that, and that's number one. And number two is that. People get carried away. But number two, I could look at people's portfolio. There are people, I look at a few guys' portfolio with 10 stocks, and I'm like, you only have 3 stocks. They say, what do you mean? I can count 10. I said, no, you've only got 3. Why is that? Because not many people understand how to hedge. You do not just want to have strictly tech stocks. You do not want to have strictly American stocks. You do not want to have a simply focused stocks in your portfolio. Because if you're chasing the waterfall, chasing the rainbow, you're chasing the fast movers, and when they come down, they will come crashing faster than they did go up. So that's the problem. So at some point, I was still making gains. Of course, not as much as it was before. I was still getting the odd 25% in one day, even odd 100%. And people say, what are you doing? Well, because I mastered the craft and I'm patient. I'm building for tomorrow. I'm not building for today. But most people are just chasing the right thing that's moving. As long as it's got legs, chasing high betas, and that's it. But that you've got to be technical. This is a hard job, guys. Not many people realize that. But there you go, and that's why they find themselves in these shoes.
So basically, for you, would you suggest someone actually trying as much as possible to diversify? Just like you said, quite a number of people might just pick a sector and just invest all of their money in Nasdaq. I know someone who probably invested about 75% of his funds just in EV companies, just in EVs.
Yes.
And so, what's your take on diversification as against picking just one stock or a few couple of stock and sticking to them?
So there are a few things we need to take into consideration. Number one, are you a trader or are you an investor? That's number one. Number two, are you a gambler or are you a trader or an investor? Some people are just picking random stocks and gambling. And number three, do you just follow the crowd or do you own your mind? Okay, which is one of the things I tell people is that many people need coaches, but everybody need a mentor. Many people don't understand what they're doing. They're just picking stocks that's moving. They're like, oh, I like this stock. It's moving. Boom. That's the one I'm going to buy. No. It doesn't go that way. And I tell people stocks don't always go up. So, there's so many school of thoughts. Like I said, I'm a contrarian. People talked about, I've heard people saying, pick 2 solid stocks and just believe in them and go with them. So it doesn't work in this day and age, because how do you know what's going to move? Number one. Number two, you're trying to build wealth for your family. It depends on your budget, depends on your capital as well, because when it comes to investment, when it comes to diversification, not one method will work. Yes, we both know that. However, I believe that I believe that you should. That's Bishop right there. That wasn't even tethering. It was just about tethering on correction. It wasn't fully corrected. But anyway, so I believe that you need to build something for the future. I love indexes. I love my ETFs. I love to get dividends. So I tell people you need to have. It's like being on the road, right? You're driving. Why do you have speed bumps? Have a break and you keep driving. Okay. No matter how, even if they want to pick the fastest driver, and another guy out there, and they have speed bumps on the road. The person who constantly moves at a random same speed, he's going to win compared to you speeding. You get to the speed bump, you slow down and then jump in and then keep speeding again. No, because you're going to exhaust your fuel early. Considering we've got the same amount of fuel to get started. So, but if you keep going same pace, keep pacing yourself, understand that this is a marathon, it's not a sprint. And I tell people they don't catch, they don't in this race, they don't arrest late comers, they don't catch. They don't stop late comers. There's no penalty for you getting there late. Just master your mind. Have a strategy. Not many people have a strategy. And I have people come onto my course, and the first thing they ask me is, "What do we buy?" I'm like, no, that is the wrong question. So, what do you mean? Isn't that why we're here? I said, no, because that's not the right question. So many people do not understand that, and that's where they fail. Many of them fail that way. So, you want to have some hedges. You want to have some, which are some slow movers. This is what builds your wealth. Wealth is built over a long time, and that's the truth. Over time. Then you need to have the odd bits that you are trading. Of course, trading is very important, but you need to build some edges, some slow movers, and at the same time, you need to be able to have some cash with you. Take advantage of the market. Think about it. Last year, when we had the crash in February, I took a few positions, and within 3 months, they all gave me multiple 100%, and I'm thinking, wow, had it been that I was quite liquid, I probably would have bought more. Because looking at the prices right now, some of them are like 400% already, literally a year later. And I'm talking mega cap stocks. And that's what I tell people. Wealth is built in a recession. Not many people realize that. So, you want to treat the market the same way you're going to treat it, whether it's up or it's down. Just maintain that same pace, and you will make money.
Okay. All right. Thanks for that. Again, disclaimers here. We're not giving financial advice.
Oh, absolutely not.
So you guys this is just educational content, strictly please. Okay.
Absolutely.
So if you also have any questions for Benga, you can just drop it in the comment section, and then we'll just display that, and he'll probably answer it. So, what's your take generally? Do you think on the Nasdaq right now? Is it a good time to dive in? Is it not a good time to dive in? What's your opinion on that? Again, we saw that.
Yeah, go on. Sorry.
Okay. Again, we saw that the reason for the stock market drop in the last 2 weeks was blamed on increase in bonds and a prospective rise in inflation. So. What do you think? Is it that easy? Like, is it that easy? Can that actually?
I'm gonna land with two things I usually tell my students or my partners who are fellow investors. Number one, I tell them the markets will do what the markets will do. So if in terms of you asking me, is it the right time to get in now? There's never a wrong time to get into the markets as an investor. As a trader, that's something else, okay? Some people say sit on your hands, and I'm saying, why do you sit on your hands? Does that mean you do not have a strategy? I do have a strategy, so you can't tell me when is the best. I know when is the best time to do it, and when is not the best time not to do it. There's this guy, Martin O'Neill, in one of the books said, you need to learn to make money when the market is up or when the market is down. But anyway, so that's the first thing, which is what? What's the first thing I said again? So the first thing I said was that the markets will do what the markets will do. Now, the second thing I'm going to tell you is that if you don't see opportunities when the market's up or when the market is down, then you have no business being in the market. So again, I'm going to repeat it. If you don't see opportunities when the market is up or when the market is down, then you're not doing it right. So you have no business being in that market. So the question is, do you still see opportunities in NASDAQ right now? Absolutely. There's a world of opportunity. We are investing in companies, big companies with real human beings working there. What do you think? Absolutely. You expect us to treat your investment like a business. How many people have journals? How many people record their trading or investment? How many people even know what the company they invest in are called? They just look at the tickers, okay? And that's the big mistakes that people say. And that I tell people, for example, even though I've got a group of mentees, I tell them, treat every information with suspicion. But many people trust me, which is fine. Thank God we've been able to build a track record, which is absolutely amazing thing to do. But at the same time, you've got to treat every information with suspicion and be able to do your own due diligence. You are there to make a legacy for your children, for your future, if not for your children, but for your own future. You're there to make something for yourself. So absolutely, there is always opportunity in the market, whether it's up or whether it's down. Yes. And do I think it's right to invest today? Of course, I think so, yeah. I mean, when it comes to investments, I tell people invest early, invest often. So, you got to do it as early as possible. You've got to do it as often as possible. Yes.
Okay. So again, generally the market is categorized into value stocks and growth stocks.
Yeah.
What's your opinion on this?
So, I mean, if you think about it now, the ones value stocks are no longer as valuable now. Everyone is trending. They want to be growth. If you think about, the last ticker, I don't know if I should really throw away tickers like that, but they sell furniture. But this stock grew last year about 300%, and I'm thinking, I thought you meant to be a value stock. This is a stock in the billions. Think about what's happening to GameStop right now. This is a $1 billion stock. It's growing in multiple billions, even though it's even got people playing with it. Look at what happened to Rockets 2 weeks ago. I literally just had to get out of my position because this is something that went 100% in one day and it was still going off. And I thought now. So I still think there's some real great value stocks out there. And growth stocks is just, this is a very artificial market we're in right now. Treat every stock with suspicion, not just information. Every stock, don't trust them at all. Be it your Apple, be it your Tesla, whatever it is, do not trust. How many times did Tesla themselves raise money in the stock last year? They literally gave investors headache. You're buying them and they constantly raise, capital raising, and you think, what is going on with you people? Give us some peace of mind. So you've got to treat everything with suspicion. You are there to make money. And but of course, let your portfolio breathe. Okay, if you've done your research and you're happy with your pick, then buy and leave it. Let it grow. Let it do its own thing. Don't just start jumping. I've seen people. It's one of the guys in my group actually left the building. He left the group because he said there was a correction. I'm saying, oh no, are you still new? That's why. But many people do not understand. Many people do not understand the markets. They haven't got the knowledge. So as far as they're concerned, they just think, you're just there, pick a stock, it goes up, buy, sell. It could be as simple as that, buy low, sell high, but no, that's wrong. I tell people your first number one objective is not to lose money. Protect your capital. That's the first thing you do. And people actually say, which makes me more of a contrarian. People say, oh, don't invest with money you cannot afford to lose. Excuse me? Have I ever up and I say I want to waste my day? Because the day you waste, you're losing money, right? So I tell people, invest in money you can afford to lose, which means how much can you afford to lose? Zero. There you go. So that's what you should do. So you're going to work very hard and you say, I don't want to lose this money. Then you don't always get it right, but as a trader or even as an investor sometimes, but overall, over the long time, you will get it right if you are diligent. And, pick the right stocks. Yes, be it growth, be it value. I think the lines are being blurred right now when it comes to value and growth. A lot of values, what happened? And the dividend was cancelled last year. Lots of the companies, actually, while a lot of growth don't even pay dividends anyway, but everyone's just ballooning and growing astronomically. Apple is almost $2 trillion, more than $2 trillion company, but it's still going like a baby, right? They still literally want to take over the world. So, and that's the way it goes now. And that's the approach you need to have in the markets.
Okay, thank you. Again, I need to mention at this point, whatever we're talking about is not financial advice. Please, guys, disclaimer, please. You guys need to understand that.
Opinion.
It's opinion. You need to make your own research, really. Okay, yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, so many people out there will want to know what company stocks are you watching right now and why? Maybe you could just give us like 3 of them.
Wow, this is very, very difficult actually, because I think people know me. I am not I don't really marry any stock at all. I just no, you tell me don't be emotional, but you're the one who doesn't want to sell this. And then, so what are the key stocks I look for? I don't know. For some reason, I'm not a great fan of tech stocks. I don't know why. Maybe because they come a dime a dozen. You get a lot of them around doing the numbers, and I just think you've got one, you've got them all. Literally, by the time you pick 10 random tech stocks, everyone is all about cloud computing. And I'm thinking, oh no, give me a break. So, but at the same time, what can you do without technology in this day and age? So, especially people who know me, they will know that I'm not really. So there's nothing new I'm going to say other than because I love the world changes, and I love it used to be called transenterics actually, but I think it's changed. Is it arsenic? ASXC now. That's the new ticker. TRXC used to be ticker, but now it's ASXC. That's one I really do like. Surgical treatments. But it's a medical device company basically, and they are working into changing the way surgery is being conducted. And making simplifying things. This is a very small company. I think in terms of market cap, I don't think it's a billion, but at the same time, it wants to do amazing things. And I don't even think they've got the power to do that. So, as an investor, I believe that's going to do great and amazing numbers in your portfolio in terms of growth. It might get taken over, and that's one. The second one I'm going to mention, people know me, I talk about this a lot, and this is CleanSpark. I tell people CleanSpark is CLSK. This is an amazing, amazing, amazing company. Everyone is talking about what? Cryptocurrencies, crypto. Yeah, everyone's getting cryptomania. And of course they are into cryptomania, into crypto, sorry. However, they're talking about microgrid. Okay, so they're making a small grid for all this thing because crypto takes a lot of energy. So these guys are making it in a more efficient way. Not just that, but they've got a lot more things to do. They've been attacked by shutters, but what happened? They bounced back quickly without taking too long. And the third one, can I actually think of what the third one could be? I'm not really sure because I've got quite in my head. I know what my daughter wants me to talk about. She's actually here looking at me, but I'm not going to mention that company. But maybe I should. And that third company is run away already, though. I tend to say it's left us, but it's Veriton. Veriton is an amazing, amazing, amazing company. It's an artificial intelligence company. Recently, they got into energy. I think I saw something about them. Is it a collaboration? Is it a merger or is it a takeover happening already? It's been announced anyway already. This is a company I know from a while back. I say I'm not emotional about it, but I monitor what's going on every day with this company, and I am actually impressed with what I see. So these three companies, I love what they do. I've been impressed with them, and so one is a medical device, which is ASXC. The other one is into artificial intelligence / energy, which is Veriton, and the third one, which is CleanSpark as well, and that's into energy as well. With with the bill what's taking. I mean, how could you change the world right now? Or if you want to make a lot of money as an investor, just mention these things into the market. The market is just run ragged. Just tell them cryptocurrency, tell them energy, and the market's just going to balloon straight away. So yeah, but those are the things I'm looking at. Yeah,
all
you
right.
mentioned easy, and that's it. You get your billions.
We're not recommending any stocks here. We are not giving financial advice. This is just educational
Guys,
content.
I'm not saying I'm not asking anybody to invest in these companies. I'm not asking anybody to invest in these companies. In fact, you don't have to. Do not invest. Do your own research. Take your own personal picks, and then make your mind.
Very, very important. Now, we saw quite a number of companies go public last year with the SPAC merger. What's your opinion on SPAC mergers?
Oh, how could I talk about SPAC without getting you bored? Okay, I mean SPACs is what do we call them? Special purpose companies. Okay, so I mean there's so many ways companies go public, and one of the simplest way is by going through a SPAC, because the normal way they go public is quite, it's quite lengthy, it's expensive, it's cumbersome. So that whole process is quite tedious. But if you could go through a SPAC right now, special purpose acquisition company. It simplifies the process, makes it simpler, and and the whole thing is quicker. So this SPAC is all about companies find this group of they form a SPAC, and they find companies who are doing what do we call them? They're doing who are great in this. They find promising companies and they take them private. They take them public way. That's what they do. So there's a process in making money through that. But what if I told you the last 4 months, SPAC hit the record, the money made from SPAC or the money invested in SPAC in the last 4 months was all time. It's greater than the money that's been invested in SPAC, since SPAC started, basically, all time. I'm talking about more than 10 years. All the money made from SPAC was, the money they made in 4 months. So I think everybody realized, and I actually had to send out a few things to the guys in my group, and I said, guys, I think now SPAC to me, I did a research. I looked at about 120 comments, and that's from 120, just speaking off the top of my head now. 2 of them actually were delisted for fraud. A few of them failed. More than 50% of them actually are, still below 20%. So you realize after the merger or reverse merger has been formed, they all just go crashing back down. And, some of them are great, but it's just a shame, really. 1 or 2 of them were taking over. So what's my opinion right now? I treat it like any other stock. I just trade it. But for me, I know when to get out. I tell people, they don't sell food, but know when to leave the table. And one thing you've got to understand is that the market recognizes this whole process of these things running, and at some point they just crash once the merger has been formed. So now, I think at some point, one of the things I tell people is you need to understand market cycles. Not many people understand that. And money moves away from SPAC. It did move away at some point, and it looks like they're not really doing the great numbers they were doing right now. I mean, I made a few bucks from SPACs towards the end of last quarter last year, and many people actually did make as well, but many people actually lost a lot too. So no, I think it's been abused now. The market knows that this is not just the right way to do it, and market is just telling everybody. So what's my opinion right now? I treat it like any other stocks. I mean, I still have 2 or 3 from them, which I believe in. They are real doing great numbers, and they've got real star power behind them. Like I said, it's rewarded me, and I've got 1 or 2 that I'm hoping to keep for a long time. In fact, I actually bought 1 today. That's a post-merger, yeah.
Okay. All right. So I just want us to go through various sectors of the stock market, various companies.
Okay.
Sector. So just take like 3 of them and tell me what you think about them. Travel stocks, airlines. What do you think about them?
Airlines. I tell people, if you want to invest in airlines, be ready for a headache every 10 years. It's that simple, okay? Let me take you back. Let me quickly take you back. What happened to September 11, 2001, World Trade Center happened, and then airlines, poof, and then 2008, what happened in Iceland? We had the ice, and then what happened? Poof, airlines crashed. And now, just about last year, COVID happened, and then again, airline. But before COVID, what happened before then? If you think about it, Iran, they mistakenly, hit their own flights with a missile. So they crashed their own flights. And then what happened? All airlines, Boeing, Indonesia crashed. Was it Indonesia or was it Malaysia? Yeah, the Lion Air last year or 2 years ago as well. So airlines, you've got to just prepare for that headache every 10 years. So airlines, what do? I avoid it totally. I'm not even going to lie about it. So, I mean, Warren Buffett he dumped everything last year, didn't he? There you go. So
yeah, he did. Okay. Energy.
Yeah, energy. I think energy is amazing, but you've got to understand energy is very, very broad. So you're talking about renewable energy. You're talking about people talk about energy and not realizing that energy is very broad. For me, for example, when it comes to your utilities, I avoid them because you're going to increase my utility bill, and then we're going to protest, and the government's going to tell you, hey, put it back down. So there's a cap, there's a limit to what you can earn in energy. Yeah, utility. But do you? I mean, so how can you revamp energy? How can you disrupt that space? Okay, by taking away. So if you're talking about energy in the electric vehicle space, so you want to take away coal and you want to bring it to electric vehicle. Sorry. You want to take away petrol into electric vehicle. So that's an aspect of energy. You know, you want to take away, what else are we looking at? Electricity. How can you disrupt electricity? Electricity is just electricity. Okay, you want to make it LED. So that's an aspect of it. Okay, so there's a broad stream of energy we need to break down. Considering, you know, I mean, I did electrical engineering for my first university degree, so it's very, very broad when it comes to energy. But I think energy is a thriving industry. The world thrives on energy. You know, I talk about renewable. I'm talking about some people just do the counting, carbon counting, just to make sure you comply. My old workplace, we call it grudge markets, and we strictly just make transducers which measures your pollution. Okay, so we were in the energy sector, even though it's research. So we just make transducers which all it does is it counts how many parts per trillion, parts per million of your gas, which has been polluted into the atmosphere, into the environment. And that's what we do. And that's what we measure. So that's an energy again. And it's just very, very broad, but you've got to be able to pick. Some people just go into pick and shovel. Sometimes you've got to just look at the manufacturers in them and pick wise. So don't just people just go, is energy, boom, I buy this. No. Be careful. It could be transportation. That's energy as well, even though it's transportation, but everybody just have a bit of caveats into it. So forget the stock labels and go deeper. That's what I tell people.
Okay, again, this is not financial advice. Disclaimer,
No,
please, we're not recommending anything.
From these conversations.
Okay. Again, and finally, real estate, REITs. What do you think about that?
Oh, real estate. I love real estate, actually. But again, when you think about real estate, how well can you disrupt that space? Rockets tried it. I think they were heavily shorted. They faced a lot of barriers, and that was just difficult. Another company, Redfin or PIX, I know this are another two companies that tried it, and they've done really amazing. But what do I like about REITs? Especially for me, is the fact that you can get the dividends. Okay, I love these dividends. I have to pay 90% in America, for example. You know, REITs stand for Real Estate Investment Trust. But again, when you're talking about REITs, it varies. You know, there's REITs in the cannabis space, which is just giving them land to grow the cannabis. There's real estate, commercial, which guys, if for all you're gonna do, please, while there's COVID, do not put your money in commercial real estate. People just think it's real, it's REITs, and that's it. No, what if it's commercial, okay? And there's REITs in the domestic, you know, residentials where people live. That's an amazing one as well to put your money. So you've got to be able to think properly. Is this a broad space? I mean, there's one which houses what's it called? All this data, data transmitters where they house them, you know, data houses. Okay, so there's just all sort of REITs out there that people need to do. Of course, people always say there's always that debate about real estate and stock investment, which is the best. But you could actually invest in real estate without owning the real estate. But I love REITs. I think REITs are amazing. And REITs, give it a thumbs up. Energy depends. I still give it a thumbs up, maybe because I have my background as an energy. I mean, I worked as a power and distribution engineer some early part of my life. And the third one, transport. Sorry, airlines. No, it's a no for me. Sorry. People just go on about this whole blasé attitude about everybody will travel. No, that's a blanket statement. Yes, everybody will travel, but you've got to be wise and understand that yes, while everybody will travel, does this suit me? You know, I tell people invest and trade to suit your personality. Does this stock why you invest, know what you own, and know why you own them. Don't be stubborn. Stubborn will make you lose money in this case. In this game, it's not a game. It's real money. Every loss you make, you're giving a portion of your life away, guys. Know that.
Okay. Let's just wrap up with an overview of the stock market situation right now. Rising interest rates. Let's take a look at that and just give an overview of how the market is right now and what we should be doing basically, or what you think we should be doing.
So, people say, So one thing people say is that, oh, they say I'm not doing anything different from what I've been doing in 1990. I don't agree with you. I think you have to evolve. That's number one. Number two, so you keep evolving. Number two, keep studying as much as possible. Listen to blogs. Join a community of like-minded investors. And share the knowledge with them. That's number two. Number three, keep abreast of what's going on. You have to understand that the market sells on future rather than current earnings. Okay, so the yield is not, or the yield, that correction is not, like, this money has been printed out of thin air. It will have an effect. Okay, at some point, like they say, if you sweep dust in the field, unfortunately you will have to come back and pack it yourself, and that's the way it's going to go. It's going to come back to hit you. So make sure you have some money to take advantage of the markets in future. That's just another thing you need to do. A few things I could say, like I said, keep abreast, learn. Keep, and again, diversify. Don't just have all your wealth in the stock market. Okay. And even if you do, don't just have an American market, which is where most people are focused right now. Have some other businesses. Have a private thing. Have some bond. Okay, yes, bonds are. I said blonde. Bonds are not great movers, but at the same time, you need this thing that keeps that passive income coming, and keep learning, keep improving yourself. But at the same time, don't run away from the market. Keep investing. Very, very important.
Okay. So someone has a question here. Talking about energy, what do you think concerning the future of gas with the presence of EVs?
I mean, gas has got nowhere to go. I mean, I live in cold Europe. Look at me now. Look at the way I'm dressed in my hoodie in my house, and the heating is on. I could literally feel the heating now. It's on, but so gas has got nowhere to go. For example, in the UK, we get gas from Russia, which is actually imported for all the way from pipeline built into Russian into the pipes, which links into all our houses, and it hits our homes. So I think except you're going to tell me in the next 20 years we're not going to get gas, we're not going to get winter anymore. So gas has got nowhere to go. There would always be gas. But if you're thinking about petrol, if you think about it, there's actually a big mistake that we made. And I mean, I was reading something. I was looking at statistics actually. EV hits about $2 trillion mark as last week Monday. Okay, guess what? Petrol went sky high last week as well, didn't it? What does that tell you about demand? That demand, while EV hit sky high, what is the percentage of electric vehicle? EV is electric vehicle, by the way, guys. What's the percentage of electric vehicles out there? How many electric vehicles do you see? In my drive right now, I've got 2 cars, myself and my wife. None of them is electric vehicle. Okay, me doesn't make statistics. When I go out there, I'm beginning to see traces. But no, if I'm going to sample a random 100 cars, I live in a first world country. First world. We still do not. And I pick a random 100 cars. I can tell you, not 10 of them are electric vehicles. People haven't got money to throw around because I want to buy a new Tesla. Of course, I'm just going to dump my Range Rover, which has still got a lot of life in it. Yeah, people don't do that yet. And most of these EVs, have they been able to charge? What's the charging power? How long does it take to charge? I mean, I drive, just before this, I drove about 20 miles away and back. That's a 40 miles return trip. I didn't see one charging port, but I must have come across about 5 petrol stations. So you've got to think EVs still go a long way before it takes its place. But you have to understand the market thinks about the future right now. The market is always thinking about a year ahead. And that's why everyone is just throwing money into the market. So I think, if there's something I saw yesterday on Financial Times, which one do you think is the next bubble? Is it Bitcoin? Is it EV? A lot of people actually think EV is actually right in a bubble right now. Do I think it's in a bubble? I think there's a big time bubble awaiting people. Of course, there's some great companies out there. Some of them's got really great early movers. I'm not going to mention any names, but you've got to be careful. So for me personally, I tend to advise me. I don't advise people. I advise me because I'm not an advisor. I'm not a financial advisor. Guys, do your own research. But I advise myself that, about only 3% of my portfolio is in EV, not a lot yet, and want to see the real traction before you start putting everything. Otherwise, you're buying everything. There's literally all the condoleezers that's flying. I mean, think about fire during the fire. What's it called? Not fireflies. Is it a firefly? What's it called? During when there's fire, the sparks. Yeah.
Fireworks.
Fireworks. That's the word. Yeah. And you literally that fireworks, but that's not the real fire. The real fire is in that fire down there itself, right? But everybody's just buying those sparkles. But and most of these guys haven't. I mean, a lot of these companies they haven't even made one car. But they already worth billions of dollars. How do you worth a billion when you haven't even bought one? But people look at another company, and which got short. Nikola got shorted the other time, and people say, "Oh, he's a fraud." Okay, for you to call this guy a fraud, we got to think about it. You put your money in another company just because he hasn't been shorted, but he's already worth $5-6 billion. But they have not made one car. They've only made projectors. Slides and PowerPoint slides, and you think really just the fact that they haven't been called out doesn't make them a great company. So that's the thing. People need to slow down when they're investing, and of course, yes, you might read as much information, but take it into your source. Don't believe everything you see.
Okay, awesome, guys. I just need to point out again. I'm going to have to be repeating that multiple times. We're not giving financial advice here. You still need to do your due diligence.
I mean, this is a Passfolio's first time conversation, isn't it? And I'm happy to be the first one to grace this occasion.
We're really glad to have you here, Benga. It's awesome.
Absolutely.
So someone else is actually asking a question here, and I'm going to display that also. What is your, I think, take on AMC? Is there hope for it when kept from the long term, say 1 year or more?
See, AMC, that's a cinema chain in America. There was a time where things were really down. Of course, cinemas were closed. What do you expect? They're gonna have their hands in the air and say, "Guys, we need help." I think they got some loans from a few private capitals with the extortionate. I don't know. It's not up to me. It's up to them. If they agreed with the interest rate, that's fine. So I mean, I wouldn't say I invested in it. I traded it. I made some nice tidy stuff, which is good. Thank God for that. And then he had his own play. There was a rumor as well. Was it 2 weeks ago about Amazon being interested in the takeover, and then it ran up again. I don't know about that. I don't know how confirmed it is. I didn't really keep abreast of it because I sold my stake already. However, does this still have a future? People call it the new normal right now with us not going to the cinema. But I still believe, as much as you are remote to me right now, I still want to see you as a human being. When if I'm down there in Portugal, Brazil, wherever we meet, I still want to be able to see you as a friend, go out for a drink. I still think people miss. Everyone saw it on what's it called? They streamed it live on, well, not just live, they all streamed it. That will form part of what we do. But the human relationship, that cannot be stopped. Okay, for example, I read a piece on the Financial Times about last year when Italy had the highest rates of death in Europe at that time. But if you think about Italian culture, they love to embrace and cuddle each other, kissing the cheeks in a very polite way. Africans, what do? We still want to cuddle. So so that gave the reasons why they had the highest death. So as a result of that, for example, do you think that cinema chain is going to die? That people still want to meet, have that camaraderie? I had a few Zoom parties. You cannot compare it to having. I mean, think about Nigeria. You love your parties, right? You can every Saturdays.
Yeah.
So
every Saturday.
It's the same thing. While the lifestyle in Europe and America is a bit different. People fail to extrapolate information and look over the long term. So this is a company here. It's on its knees right now. I think it's going to form part of it. Will cinemas die right now? I don't think so. Not one event will take out the humans right now, take us out of our game. I think we're still meant to be here. We're still going to be here for a long while. But in terms of survivorship, a year is a very short time. We could see the R rate, which is just the death rate, which has been measured in terms of COVID, has actually really gone down heavily. So as a result of that, it shows that and things are beginning to pick up again. Biden was wasn't going to lock down. It was a lockdown. America, but it's talking about it now. It's not even thinking about a lockdown. Deaths are receded heavily, and things are crawling back gradually. I mean, my kids are back in school now. The gyms are gradually opening up. Cinemas are opening up. They might, which means they're beginning to crumble, revenues gradually. What happened 2 days ago actually was the earnings. They beat earnings. What does that tell you? They've still got skin in the game. So for them to be, you're only good as your last performance, and their last performance was 2 days ago. They beat earnings. So do you think a year later, absolutely will be here? That's my belief.
Okay. All right. I'm sure we can go on and on and on with this. So we just have to probably end it here. Since you say thanks so much, Benga, for the assurance, you still have to do your own due diligence, really. It's not financial advice. You still have
to take information with a pinch of salt. Take it with a pinch of salt.
All right. So my name is Oshin. It was really nice having you, Benga, on the show. Now I just want to talk a bit about Passfolio. Passfolio is a San Francisco fintech company. They enable you guys get invested in the US stock market. It's available on the Android place and on the iOS app. That's if you're using Android or Apple, you can easily download Passfolio from due diligence. Thank you, Cynthia. You can easily download the Passfolio app from there. And guess what? If you're investing in stocks $5 and above, you don't get to pay commissions. But if you're investing in a stock that is less than $5, then you pay 2 cents per share, right? So you could just work out your own calculation and see if it works out for you. Also, we also provide a pro feature that comes with some exciting features like leverages, limit orders, and things like that. If you have any questions, you could just drop it down in the comment below after this video is uploaded. You could also just click on the subscribe button on the YouTube channel and turn on the notification bell. Hopefully, we'll be having more of this from time. And I'm sure Benga wouldn't mind coming up again sometime in the future. Benga, I don't know if you have any questions for me or regarding Passfolio.
No, I've got to say what Passfolio is doing is amazing. Nigerians are heavily interested in investing and in trading. Absolutely. I started off my business as an investing business, but I realized a lot of them gravitate towards trading. So I've actually been helping a lot of people come up. The fact that you came to disrupt that space of, saying people, saying you want to make it commission free. That's what Nigerians love, and that's one thing you're not saying enough. The minute I told people Passfolio is commission free, a few people, they pinch me saying, "Guys, stay up, be awake. Are you sure they are commission free?" And it's targeted at Nigerians. I said, absolutely, these guys are commission free, and I've had a few people who use them saying, "You know what? I don't even have a problem." And you guys have what a web-based platform as well, right?
Yeah, sure. We have web-based
on computer. So you got it on an app and at the same time on your computer, and not many people realize. And I say, guy, Oshin, you're not shouting the good of your company enough. So, so the crowd there's still enough room for the people. We've got other investors out there, but you guys are doing such an amazing thing. Guys are forcing you. I love what you said yesterday, guys. I love competition. When we mentioned a few other competitors, you say, no, I thrive on competition, and I think you get the best from Nigerians. And thank you for bringing me on and for what you are doing in helping many Nigerians out there, because capital-wise, it's not many people can afford to invest heavily, but the fact that you are making it simple for them is very much appreciated. Thank you.
Yeah, and again, just to top that up, to tell you how interested we're in getting little earners or people that seemingly don't have enough money. You could invest with Passfolio with as little as $1, $1, 500 naira, $1. Yes, you could practically put $1 into your Passfolio stock and buy a stock of 1 cent. We offer fractional shares also, so you can buy 0.0001 of the company stock. So it basically we make investing pretty easy for people. Yeah, we know we are not there, but then we're getting better. And with people like you giving us comments, we appreciate it. And Guys, if you have any questions, again, just like I said, you can drop it in the comment section below, or you can simply email us at support. Let me just put that down, or just email us at hello@passfolio.us if you have any questions for us, and we'll be sure to reply you. Yeah. All right, Benga, thank you very much for joining us today. It's almost an hour. It felt like 10 minutes. We could go on and on and on with this. Thank you very much for joining us. And guys, see you again on Monday, and then hopefully on Friday with something pretty interesting again. All right. Bye, Benga.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.